Brady. This is going to be exciting.
Here they got career starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
We're well past halfway in the regular season, and the Save 22 spring season picks up with Week 7 of the Cruisin Classics Premier Next Gen Series right here, right now, on V-Speed. For everyone here at V-Speed, I'm Jacob Blanky. Alongside me in the booth is Ken Huber, Eddie Smith on production, and the talented Dougie Beard providing tonight's cameras. Ken, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back, and we're at such a historic racetrack. You know, you can call this track whatever you want. A few years ago, it was called Lowe's Speedway. Now it's called Echo Park. But, you know, Charlotte Motor Speedway has got to be the most classic oval that we have on the circuit. And watching these guys get around this place tonight is going to be super exciting.
Yes, indeed. June of 1960 marked the first sanctioned event for the Charlotte Motor Speedway, a 1.5-mile quad oval nestled in Concord, North Carolina, and its 600-mile race has been circled on the NASCAR calendar ever since. We've run here in almost every series Goat Locker has to offer, and it never fails to put on a show.
Yeah, talking to our producer here tonight, Eddie says this place always puts on a great show here at Goat Locker Racing. And of course, last week at Pocono, you know, I wasn't here, of course, but I heard it was caution-free. Kind of looking forward to see if these guys can do it tonight. It's a little bit tougher track. I don't know. I wouldn't call the track temperature super hot, so I think they'll get around it just fine. But hopefully they can keep it incident-free. I was able to get a few practice laps in tonight. I can tell you the setup is a little tight, so might have some guys struggling to hold the bottom and stuff like that. But we're here to find out, that's for sure.
And it is going to make for some great racing. A change of pace from that tri-oval layout of the Pocono Speedway, and we're going back to the classic mile and a halfs, what modern NASCAR has really been built on.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about, you know, Jeremy Gardner? He's got 4 wins on the season, leading the point standings. But, you know, I don't want to count other guys. Patrick Dravik's got to win. James Silvers has got to win. So all those guys are locked into the chase coming up towards the end of the season here. But there's still some guys in there up in the points, still hunting for that first win. I'm looking at Levi McCarty, Cody Anderson, Chance Taylor, Barrett Morton, guys like that. We're still trying to get their win, and will it come tonight? That's what we're here to find out.
Yes, indeed. Putting in the work week in, week out. Names that we've seen since last year, and more names that have made themselves known throughout this season. Jeremy Gardner, one that we know very well. He's won the championship the last 2 seasons, and he's got 4 wins, 1 behind his total from last season. Let's see if he can find his way to victory lane tonight. But first, Since forming in 2013, Jam Printing and Promotions has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community, and we are getting ready to give our Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award to none other than Big Daddy himself, Jeremy Gardner, in the 57 with a 29.848. Everybody rounding out qualifying right now, and we're going to get to your starting grid. Jeremy Gardner takes the pole. James Silver is going to be rolling off in P2. P3 is going to be taken by James Kaufman in the 25. Tyler Justice rolling off in 4th. Alex Cruz in 5th with the number 5. Wesley Burke in 6th. Logan Threlkeld coming back on track in the 7th position with Chance Taylor in that 14 rolling off P8. Jamie Barkas in the 15 rolls off 9th, and Jamie Libke rounds out the starting top 10.
Smith will roll off P11. Cody Anderson will come out on the outside of her. Michael Jones will start P13. Barrett Morton will start P14. Levi McCarty back there in 15th mid-pack, so to speak. Tyler Evans alongside him will be starting on the outside. Skylar Daly will start P17, and Chuck Phelps out there in P18. On the inside, Noah Hogard will start P19, and Bobby Bender wraps up your top 20.
Timothy Stubblefield rolls off P21. Timothy Wilms in 22nd. Patrick Drabick, an end characteristic starting spot back here in the pack, 23rd, with Samuel Yosef in the 24, rolling off 24th. Travis Gilbert in P25. Jacob Ellingson, 26th. 27th is Jason Taylor, and your last car in the field at 28th is Charles Abert.
Yeah, this is going to be another one of those exciting starts, I believe. Just like last night, some surprising starts, some really fast drivers starting near the back of the field. You know, not to say this is a Premier Series, so there is a lot of fast drivers as we're looking at the camera work here provided by our producers. Some of the guys sitting in their cockpits getting ready to roll out and take the green flag. I can see Chuck Phelps there and Bobby Bender there in the middle. There's Patrick Drabick, Jamie Lipke, and Cody Anderson. So we got 5 drivers that are willing to share their view. So thanks, drivers. Look forward to riding along with you tonight.
Jamie Lipke wearing some Save 22 swag that was given out by our gracious organizers here in Go Locker after a little bit of a sweepstakes that we had a little bit of a roast session in the Discord, and I think it did a lot of good for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can see the pace car is taking them away down to get those tires warmed up and set a green flag racing. And of course, Jeremy Gardner's got that pole position. No surprise there. James Silver's another one of the race winners on the season, starting on his outside. And like I said, you know, you got people like Levi McCarty back there in 15th and Patrick Drabick all the way in the back. Jacob Ellingson didn't even take a qualifying time, you know. So a lot of things are going to happen here tonight. There's going to be a lot of shuffling, a lot of changing for position, and they're all running that tight setup. So they're going to have to dance around each other very carefully here tonight.
A lot of moving around going to happen over these 100 laps. Pit road speed, 45 miles an hour, 4 tire sets as normal, 2 green-white checkered attempts, 100% fuel, the iRacing fixed setup, and as per all of our Premier Series, no fast repair. So you got to make your move and make it count as everybody gets ready to go green here. Pace car out of turn 4, the field close behind.
Somewhat close behind.
Somewhat close.
Before they started, I will say their pit window is about 65 laps, so they could definitely do this on one stop, provided we stay green. But why don't you take us away there, Jacob? Now it's in.
Now we're talking pace car out of turn 4, the field close behind, cuts them loose through the extreme scoring restart zone, and we are rolling. Green flag in Concord. Oh, we're wrecking already.
Yeah, car around in the back. It was a pretty big accordion effect on that start. It was kind of like everybody was really slow getting off the line there. And we're still under green, but one car suffered the worst there, got a little spin there on the back, on the front stretch there on the start, and it's going to start dead last. And that was, I believe that was Charles Abert.
The 44 of Travis Gilbert that ended up losing it off the start. I think he might have either spun the tires or something. Jason Taylor in the 60 is showing a black flag that might have been for getting around Gilbert at the start there. He may have to serve that. I don't think it's going to get cleared. As we're taking a look at a battle further up the field, James Silvers fighting with Tyler Justice for P2.
Yeah, side by side down the backstretch. That 4 car on the outside trying to hang on. Tyler Justice down there. You can see him on the inside trying to get around James Silvers. Looks like James Silvers is going to drop back 1 position. Or 2 positions.
Silver's up in that outside line, which could be beneficial later on once it rubbers in a little bit, but everybody is just jarting past him on the inside, pushing as we've got these fresh tires. Wesley Burke getting past James Kaufman in the 25 up to 3rd.
Yeah, might be some tire saving strategy already as we're looking at the 14. Chance Taylor now on the inside, looking at James Silvers, trying to get underneath, trying to take that position away. You can see Wesley Burke just ahead of those 2 drivers. Side by side across the start-finish line, side by side just behind him as well.
James Silver's dropping back, taking that outside middle line. We got 1 jump into the outside. That's Alex Cruz. Haven't seen that so far, and he is going to slot it back in to the right behind James Silvers, and Logan Thrillkel battling for position with him now.
Yeah, Logan Thrillkel looking on the inside as they're rounding through turn 3 here. Logan Thrillkel's got the advantage. Can he escape that front bumper there and get around him before they get into turn 1? It doesn't look like it. They're going to stay side by side, and that outside lane, will probably start coming in later. That 5 car looks like he's going to have to give up the position for now. Jamie Lipke closing in on his back door.
Lipke slotting in. They're currently sitting P9. Cody Anderson in 10th just behind. Now, Tyler Justice under fire from James Kaufman, who's pushing up further into the field now. Justice up 2 spots. Kaufman started in 3rd, and these guys are letting Gardner kind of step away from him a bit.
Yeah, like I said, they might be saving those tires as we're watching Justice get around the track here. Hot in pursuit, though, and it looks like he's going to take a peek there on the inside and going to fall back in line right now.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th single file in line. 5th, Chance Taylor not far behind. Logan Threlkeld now making a move to the inside, trying to get past Alex Cruz.
Logan Threlkeld trying to make his way up through the field right now. Got James Silvers just ahead of him, but he's working on the inside of that 5 car of Alex Cruz, seeing if he can get him clear, and was able to do it last time by on the other driver. Does it again here. Looks like he's got him cleared, trying to slot in behind. No, didn't have him cleared. That outside lane was pretty tough out there, it looked like.
He had Threlkeld cleared on that one and opts to stick for the higher line, trying to catch Silvers now. Following along with a lap with Alex Cruz as he runs that higher line. You can see just how much space is between the bottom line where Silvers is running and the top line where Cruz is. And Cruz is just getting that much more momentum by carrying the carrying the first 2 turns up top, and the momentum just carries off the top, and you're able to dart straight past him. And I think we might see a move from Cruz on Silvers here into 1.
Yeah, and this is the best turn to do it here is 1 and 2. That's where you can get the most speed on exit here as they go through 1 and 2. Looking on the outside, we'll see if he can gather it up, but he's going to need to get alongside because this 4 is going to shut the door right there. Doesn't quite have the momentum off the corner, and like I said, might be saving a little bit of that rubber for as this race progresses. As we're looking at Wesley Burke now taking a look at the inside of Tyler Justice here. James Kaufman, excuse me, looking at the inside of James Kaufman, and it looks like Wesley Burke may have this pass made as they head into 1 and 2. Not done so far. You got to remember that outside lane does have some power, but it looks like Wesley's got that car clear.
Kaufman kind of fell back a little bit after fighting with Tyler Justice for the 2nd spot. Wesley Burke now advancing up to 3rd. 3 spots gained for him, 3 spots gained for Chance Taylor just behind Kaufman as well, as we're looking for the back bumper, the 0-4. Watching these varying lines come in as we're 10 laps into this one already.
Looking out the back of Wesley's Burke cars, we got another battle shaping up there. James Kaufman and Chance Taylor now side by side. Those 2 cars, you got the 14 and Chance Taylor of the 14, and Kaufman down on the inside in that yellow and black machine. They're going to go side by side down the backstretch, but I believe Chance Taylor's going to have the advantage, which he does, is able to clear that car and get around James Kaufman.
Just pulls away from him. Meanwhile, the 16 of Jamie Libke to the outside of Logan Threlkeld gets that position up into 8th, now working on the back bumper of the 5 machine. 5 still rocking that top line. JB opting for middle, Logan sticking all the way to the bottom, as we can see all 3 of these lines play out off onto the backstretch.
Yeah, Jamie Libke looking for a good finish tonight. Had some struggles this season in a bunch of different series, so kind of like to bring this car home nice and solid with a good finish here tonight. And so far, she's doing a pretty darn good job passing Logan Threlkeld right now. Looking in front of her there, you got Alex Cruz trying to find a way around that machine, but being very patient there, not really taking any chances. In fact, all these drivers are doing a great job here tonight, just feeling the cars out and trying to make their best move when possible.
Yep, just doing what they need to do. We saw Cruz change his lineup through 3 and 4, trying to get past James Silvers. We'll see if he does it again. No, Cruz holds the top this time. Silvers down to the bottom, trying to hold off the exit of the 5 car, but the 5's carrying too much momentum. 5 gets to the back bumper of the 4 through the quad oval. We'll see if we see another move here.
Yeah, Silvers has given up 4 positions. He started in 2nd, one of our previous race winners, so he might be, like I said, saving tires and maybe trying to hold off the rest of the field. Doesn't probably want to give up too much more track position. If he's got something to start, he's going to have to start showing it soon, as we're already a lap 14, lap 15 into this race. So, almost, not almost, but halfway to the halfway point. How about that?
Yep, running above that seam has worked out for Cruz so far. Meanwhile, further back behind him, you got Barrett Morton working on the back bumper of Threlkeld. Threlkeld down 2 spots already. Morton up 4, trying to crack further into the top 10, as we got Cody Anderson rocking the top over Barrett Morton breaking into the top 10 himself.
Yeah, you can see that machine going around on the outside, and you can see the 9, the purple and white car, Barrett Morton now is under threat from the outside of the car behind him. So lots of good battling out here. Barrett Morton, if you remember, he started a little bit further back there, so trying to make his way back up, but he's having some struggles out here so far.
Yep. Meanwhile, battle for 2nd place, Wesley Burke up 3 spots, trying to get to the back bumper of Tyler Justice here. Both of these guys keeping a decent gap to Jeremy Gardner. They've closed up significantly on Gardner. He might have backed off a little bit, but Tyler Justice, no stranger to running up front, as we see a little bit of a wiggle and a wall contact from Wesley Burke.
Well, we know Wesley Burke is a very aggressive, fast driver, and hasn't got that much time on the surface here, but showing some power right now as he's going around on the outside, able to get around Tyler Justice just like that. Even with the wall contact, he's going to send it and now set his sights on Jeremy Gardner.
Further back once again, Levi McCarty now cutting his way up through the field. He's inside Logan Threlkeld right now, has to back off of it because he's pushing tight on the exit of 4, would have pushed up into him. And it looks like we might have a 3-wide situation developing up here with Jamie Libke, James Kaufman, and Cody Anderson further up.
Yeah, they get that sorted out and manage to keep it 2-wide. You're sitting back there as Levi McCarty, and you're watching those guys battle in front of you, and you're like, God, who do I pick? Who do I go around? Libke's fast, Kaufman's fast, all these drivers are fast. Who do I pick? Now you got Kaufman underneath Logan Threlkeld now, trying to get that position back away from Logan. And now Levi might take it 3-wide, uses that little bit of apron, AstroTurf there. Now we're 3-wide, as Levi says, you know what? I'm tired of trying to figure out who's the faster person here. I'm just going to go around them both.
Kaufman is dropping like a rock. He started up in the top 5. He has dropped 8 positions in the last few laps. He might have burned his stuff up a little too early, as he's under fire from Barrett Morton now.
Yeah, you can see Barrett Morton just behind there. Kaufman taking another peek there at Levi, but Levi looking underneath Jamie Libke right now. So Levi trying to gain another position right up on her rear quarter panel there. Almost gets on the AstroTurf, backs out of it a little bit. Kaufman down there on the inside on the in that yellow car, trying to get underneath Barrett Morton, and he drifts up. That's that tightness I was talking about at the beginning. And you can see Kaufman's car is super tight right now. Had to get out of it, and he's going to lose another position here.
Yep, Jamie Barca is working his way around to the outside. Now Skylar Daly in the 22 trying to take that position away from Kaufman to force him back down into 14th.
Yeah, Kaufman is dropping like crazy. That car has really gotten tight on him. You know, the funny thing is about fixed setups is you get out there and you race them, and depending on your driving style, you can really affect the handling of the car. And if you push these cars too hard, especially with the tight setup, and you get that right front hot, it just will not stick. And I think that's what Kaufman is dealing with right now, is just that right front. Kind of used it up in the beginning of this run, just can't get that car to turn. And right now, just a lot of drivers are going by him.
Yep, that setup definitely affects the feel of the car, but something else that does help with your performance when it comes to these sim races is a simulator from GTR Simulators. A leader in professional grade racing and flight simulators, delivers immersive, real-world experiences trusted by racers, pilots, educators, and entertainment venues worldwide. Home setups to commercial and training solutions, GTR Simulator puts you in the driver's seat. There's a special discount for GLR in the shop tab at goatlockerracing.org. So thank you to GTR Simulators. They supply the rigs for the giveaways that GLR holds.
Yeah, and there's a lot of these drivers out there right now running that simulator, or in that simulator, and making some good time. You're looking back there as Levi McCarty is making his way through traffic, goes around the outside there, and then now down on the inside, just trying to make moves happen there as he goes around Alex Cruz and Logan Threlkeld and gains another position, move Levi McCarty up from the 15th starting position up to 7th now.
He held the outside through 1 and 2. It looked like he might have made some wall contact out of turn 2, but he used that momentum, that loose snap off of the exit to just shove himself to the inside past Alex Cruz, and now he's trying to track down the 20 of Cody Anderson.
Yeah, and it looks like Cody Anderson, he has tracked down that 20 car of Cody Anderson. Going to stay in his tire tracks right now, try to figure out where the best place to pass him, but I don't know the way Levi is moving up through here. I think probably the next time he crosses the start-finish line, he will have not made that pass. We'll have to wait and see. We're riding on board with him. You see, he goes to the outside here. We'll see if that momentum will carry him around right up against the wall. And I remember him talking about that. He's done a lot of practice to run that outside lane, and that just carries the momentum down on the inside. And actually, this is the preferred line here in 3 and 4. The outside lane isn't quite as strong in this corner as is in 1 and 2.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We saw Alex Cruz running that high line. Nobody has done it better in Goat Locker than Levi McCarty. In any car that he runs, he finds a way to make that top line work at a lot of these 1.5 miles, and he has gotten some good results out of it. He is up 9 positions so far in this race. He is the biggest mover.
Yeah, and he's got some breathing room right now, a little bit of clean air before he catches James Silvers up there. James Silvers started on the outside pole there, currently running in the top 5 in that 5th position, but Levi's looking at that and hoping to gain some more positions. I'm sure he's continuing to move up. We're lap 27 into this thing yet, so we still got about another 20 laps or so before we see these guys start heading into pit lane. And Levi would like to get up there and make as many positions and make up as much time as Jeremy Gardner as he can before that happens.
Meanwhile, the disaster continues for James Kaufman. Patrick Drabick, having had an uncharacteristically far back start, drifts up a little bit in the corner, making some contact with the 25. Kaufman now down 14 positions, trying to hold off a 15th attempt from Jacob Ellingson to the inside there. Drabick still holding it to the outside. Those two started way back in the field, a lot further back than we've seen them all season.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what's going on with Kaufman. Kind of really surprising. Starting there in 3rd, all the way back now to 17th. So we're looking at Patrick Drabick right now, getting around the track, trying to make his way up from that uncharacteristic qualifying effort that he had there. So Patrick Drabick, one of the other winners on the season, actually won at the road course this season at Watkins Glen. So, but Patrick Drabick is no stranger to getting wins on ovals either. So we'll see what he can do here tonight and see if he can recover that thing back up to the front.
Yeah, both Drabick and Ellingson fighting to get back to the front where they think they should be. Meanwhile, Jeremy Gardner still ahead of this field, taking lap 29 at the line, taking lap 30 at the line right now. Wesley Burke slowly chipping away at that lead, keeping it around 6 to 7 tenths. And Gardner, again, he has put on an incredible showing throughout the first part of the season. He's got 4 wins, trying to get that 5th to tie his record from last season, and he is just on a tear right now.
Well, he's going to need to be on a tear because I can tell you Wesley Burke has been fast all this season in a lot of different series. Wesley Burke, if you remember last season, we talked about him, won a couple of races in a row, some surprising. He just came out of nowhere. So we know that 04 car is going to be super strong here tonight. And the question is, can he manage his equipment, stay up with Gardner? We know Gardner is very good at that. And Wesley Burke, it's going to be a battle of the minds. I know Wesley Burke can just drive the wheels off that thing. And I know that Jeremy Gardner is really just a disciplined driver. He's fast, but he's also very disciplined.
Yes. Burke had a breakout season in the Xfinity series that we had last season that you and I called together. That was the Sundays before we ended up taking the big time roll up here.
Xfinity series, I believe it's called.
Yep. And further back, we're watching another one of our Xfinity series standouts, Levi McCarty, now taking that line to the inside. James Silver is under fire. That breaks McCarty into the top 5 if he can make this move stick.
Yeah, I think he's going to. We know Levi will drift up in front there. You can see Silver's pushing him down the front stretch here. So that's what you call almost a pretty good slide job there. But now he's going to run back up to the outside where all that momentum is, see if he can track down that 4th place driver of Chance Taylor.
Chance Taylor's hooked up with Tyler Justice, and I think those two wouldn't be keen on battling with each other too much, just riding it out. They know Jeremy is going to try and step this out further and further as this race gets along, but the two of them they've raced with Gardner long enough to know that he's got to stop sometime, and they're going to try and make their advantage once that pit cycle hits.
Well, I've watched the gap between Wesley Burke and Jeremy Gardner here for the last few laps, and it was pretty steady. Wesley Burke would gain a 10th or so one lap, and Jeremy Gardner would gain that back. Right now, about 6/10 away. We're looking at the live timing there. You can see 5.5 on the timing tower there. So Wesley Burke is starting to slowly reel that 57 car, Jeremy Gardner, ever so slightly. So maybe by the time we hit to the halfway point, we're going to have a battle for the lead.
Maybe, or Gardner has been pushing. He gets a little bit of a loose snap on the exit of turn 2. Might be backing off a little bit, or Burke just might be pushing that little bit too hard to where the end of this run might spell disaster for him.
Yeah, and one of those things about Gardner, you never know what he's thinking, and he could just be minding that gap. He might not be showing everything he's got right at the moment. Let Wesley come in and sniff a little bit of that draft and maybe take a little bit of air off that nose, and that's going to help wear out those front tires on that 04 car. And so, Jeremy Gardner is a very smart driver when it comes to that. But those guys got to be careful because I'm looking just behind him. Oh, we got Levi McCarty now looking at that 4th position. Going to take a look at the inside of the 14 car of Chance Taylor now as they go through 3 and 4. And it looks like Levi almost got that 14 car cleared. Not quite. They're going to go side by side across start-finish line, headed into 1.
Chance pushed it a little bit going through 3 and 4. McCarty able to roll that bottom line, carry that momentum that he had saved up, and he is going to be able to clear off the 14 to sit himself into P4 as we get back onto the backstretch going into turn 3. Chance might have a rebuttal here soon.
Yeah, and I got to say, those two leaders up there, Wesley Burke and Jeremy Gardner, probably looking at their relative right now and seeing that 51 car of Levi McCarty starting to creep into that picture, and it's probably not what they want to see. Back up front with Jeremy Gardner, you can see Wesley Burke has all but caught him just about 3 car lengths back there now. So looking there at the back bumper of Jeremy Gardner, you can see Wesley Burke closing in ever so slightly as we're at lap 39 or just about to hit lap 39. Even before the halfway point, it looks like these two are about to battle. Oh, Jeremy Gardner, a little bit of a slip up there. You can see that nose came unstuck there. That allows Wesley Burke down on the inside. Battle for the lead. Wesley Burke's got it right now. He's going to clear that 57 machine of Jeremy Gardner. Wesley Burke now leading this race.
I was going to make mention when we jump back to McCarty and Taylor that Gardner made wall contact on the exit of turn 2 earlier on, and that allowed Burke to start making up some of that ground. Justice now catching back up within a second too. Gardner is starting to fall back a little bit.
Yeah, well, there might be a little bit of damage on that. These cars are so aero dependent, and you've seen it right there on V-Speed that that car, he had the wheel kicked in it, and that front just gave way, and he had to release, and that allowed Wesley Burke to go by. And I wonder if that is a little bit of aero damage there, or maybe Jeremy Gardner didn't pace himself as well as I thought he did. But either way, he's looking now back at a new leader of Wesley Burke.
No, look now, he's trying to get as much back off of this lead as he can. Still running that low line he has been, trying to drag himself back up to the back bumper of the 0-4, getting just barely within 2/10 on the entrance of 1, but it looks like Burke's able to roll the corner a little bit better.
Yeah, you can see Gardner drifts up the line there, going to try to shoot off the bottom, but behind those two, Levi McCarty's starting to reel in Tyler Justice, so Tyler Justice is reeling in Jeremy Gardner, so it looks like we got a couple cars. We're going to get into this mix for the lead as well. You're looking at Levi McCarty right now, just a few car lengths behind Tyler Justice. And wow, he is really wheeling that car. I didn't think there'd be that kind of tire life in that car, but I got to tell you, Levi McCarty's figured out some special kind of magic when it comes to driving hard and saving tires. I really don't know how he does it.
He is still running that high line through the corner, trying to drag as much momentum as he can out of that car. Still, so he's scratching and clawing his way for every sliver of time that he can to try and catch up to these guys. And he is going to have Justice here in a couple laps.
Yeah, it definitely reeling him in, but Justice has actually been creeping into this picture. Justice is up a few tenths from where he was. When I was talking about Wesley Burke and Jeremy Gardner, he was about 1.5, 1.7 behind these two, but now he's just a little over a second. So Tyler Justice is starting to reel in our leaders as well, but Levi McCarty is coming, and that's kind of unbelievable. And we're getting close to the halfway point. So, not only is he worked his way all the way up to the front, but he's done it at a critical moment right at the halfway point. And these guys got to be scared because if we stay green and these guys all pit at the halfway point, God, McCarty's he's just got such a handle on this car and this setup here tonight.
Well, it looks like he's definitely had the long run speed that you're looking for, taking that outside line all the way around Tyler Justice. Justice able to get a little bit back in the corner, but it looks like Levi's going to clear him through the quad oval, and the leaders are not that much further ahead.
Yeah, Levi McCarty. Next victim will be Jeremy Gardner now, so what a heck of a run up from that 17th starting position. So yeah, that's really impressive. Eddie told me one time, Levi is one of those really impressive drivers. Fun to watch here when we're broadcasting the races because he does some pretty hairball stuff out there sometimes. And tonight he just proves why he runs up front. And he is looking for that first win of the season. And, it very well could come tonight. And he's showing why he's one of the top drivers in Goat Locker racing.
But his biggest obstacle thus far this season has been sitting in front of him a majority of the time. Jeremy Gardner and Levi McCarty got into it earlier on in the season at Darlington, and I think we saw a bit of a scuffle between these two earlier on in the season, and we're probably not going to see the end of it until this season is out. I think we might see the next chapter coming up here shortly. That's
always possible. I also remember those two drivers had a little bit of fender rubbing at Phoenix too, so yeah, no strangers to each other. They're racing with a lot of pride. They want to beat each other. Like I said, a couple of the faster drivers in this series. So when the competition runs high, sometimes you do push each other pretty hard, and I think that's really what happens with those two drivers.
Big run for McCarty out of turn 2. Has to back it down because Gardner takes that high line, and he is pushing that high line, trying to track down Wesley Burke. These two are going to be neck and neck. Oh, Gardner. McCarty pushes up into Gardner after Gardner makes the wall contact, and Gardner is dropping back fast. Now Tyler Justice is getting past him.
Yeah, that was a big hit for that 57 car. There is definitely going to be some damage. He pancaked that whole right side on that car, and there's no quick repairs in this series, so he's going to have to go back. We're going to go back and see him. He's pushing really hard on the outside here, trying to run that outside lane. And the car just gets away from him, just steps out a little bit out there in the marbles, and he had to correct it, and he had to correct it right up into the wall.
Gardner's holding on to that third spot with everything he has right now. Tyler Justice still fighting to the inside, trying to cover off him, and it looks like he's going to hold that outside line, going to have the momentum on the exit of turn 2 as they go side by side down the backstretch. Levi McCarty now starting to track down Wesley Burke.
We're still watching this battle for third. Jeremy Gardner doing a great job holding on. Remember, Tyler Justice was running him down anyway. Oh, it looks like Gardner gets the wall again, but able to hold that position over Tyler Justice. So Gardner isn't done or out of this fight yet, as we got Barrett Morton headed to pit lane to get his service done here at lap 50, right at the halfway point.
Yep, our first taker, and he's well within the window. He's going to split this race almost exactly in half. The 9 takes his pit box, and we'll see if anybody else decides to make their stop here soon, as he ends up having to back up a little bit to sit himself in his box proper.
Yeah, to back that thing up a couple of times. It's just such a tough break there. It looks like we're watching some more drivers head to pit lane here. I want to say that's Wesley Burke, our second place driver. Yeah, Wesley Burke leading another group of cars down on the pit lane. Tyler Justice, Alex Cruz, Jamie Lipke, a lot of other cars getting their service done here at the halfway point.
Another car we haven't talked about too much, that 27 of Jacob Ellingson having taken it down the pit lane. Speeding penalty for the 15 of Jamie Barkas. He is not going to be happy about that one.
No, and when you got a race like this that looks green flag all the way like we had last week, it's definitely a heartbreaker to have one of those black flags set you back like this, because there's just no way unless there's a caution. And so far, this race has a totally green look to it. So not what you want to have happen here during your pit cycle on a green flag race.
Yep. All but 8 cars right now taking their stop. Wesley Burke getting back out on track. He's going to settle out in the 12th position right now. James Kaufman now onto the pit lane with Silvers and Chance Taylor as well. Everything's going to start shaking out here soon with cars that have taken their pit stops. Levi McCarty inheriting the lead after the pit stop from Wesley Burke.
Yeah, and Levi can afford to hang out there. I think he knows he's fast. It's unbelievable how he ran all these cars down from the 17th position, but it looks like Levi might be slowing down, headed to pit lane, going to get his service. No, I thought he was slowing down. He was down on the bottom after running on the top, so thought surely he was headed to pit lane. But as I was saying, he's got such a strong car. He can afford to stay out there, maybe let people like Wesley Burke get back around him during the pit cycle, and then at the end of this race, just have the best tires and just run away with it. And Gardner looks like in the same boat right now, just behind him there. Even with that damage, Gardner is able to hold the line and keep pace with our leader, Levi McCarty.
That's what he's trying to do right now, trying to keep as close to McCarty as he can, trying to take that same strategy so that they come out around the same spot, maybe use some of that traffic to his advantage once they get back going.
We'll see how long these guys stay out. So we're almost 55 laps into this, so they can only realistically go maybe 10 more laps if they wanted to, but I don't think that would be the proper strategy. They might give up too much time on the track, so eventually they're going to have to make that decision. They're going to have to make that decision to come down to pit lane, and they don't want those other drivers that have already taken their stop work around them. But there's still it looks like 8 cars all the way back to Chuck Phelps that has not taken their pit stop yet.
Yes, indeed. Gardner looking to the inside, catching McCarty. McCarty starting to slow down a little bit as these guys are have closed up the distance between each other. Gardner might have damage after all, as he's been catching the 51 gradually through the rest of these laps.
Yeah, I thought surely as hard as he hit the wall that there was damage on that machine, but apparently not. So because Gardner is coming back. That car was kind of a little bit twitchy there, the way Gardner was racing it, but I think that's his style, making sure that that front end doesn't get tight. Going to take a peek on the bottom there. I don't think he's really pushing the issue right now. Both these guys still have yet to make their pit stops. Got another car on pit lane. That's Corinne Smith. Going to make her stop on the night. So another car getting stops happening right now.
Another one falls off of that lead group, trying to stretch it as far as they can. Jeremy Gardner still within 4/10 of Levi McCarty, who is currently sitting in the lead. Both of these guys still have to make their pit stops. It's gonna come down to the wire for these two. I know it.
Yeah, and like I said, when they come out, they're running out here on these old tires for an additional at least 7 laps so far over everybody else. That allows the rest of the field to catch up to them. So when they make their pit stops, they're likely not going to be the lead 2, but they will have the freshest tires. Just really surprising how long they are staying out. Like I said, they only got about 7 more laps, and they're going to have to bring these cars in.
Yep, and there's got to be a crossover point from where the overcut and the undercut doesn't help it. Samuel Joseph stopped on the backstretch, and he toes. We're still green. Might have just lost it on the exit of the pits, made some contact. We're going to take a look at that right now. Oh!
Well, I'm surprised that didn't bring out the caution. So really surprised there. You can see Sammy Joseph getting loose there, tries to correct it, goes up in the wall. Oh, and collects up a couple other drivers there. I'm not sure who that was.
That's Alex Cruz, Barrett Morton, and the number 9 who had a strong showing earlier. It looked like Jamie Libke made some contact with the outside wall trying to avoid it, but that's several strong cars that have been torn up as a result of this one. Libke didn't look like they made all that much contact with the wall. So we're going to take a look at an amazing save.
Like I said, I can't believe that we stayed green under all that. You see, oh yeah, just gets hammered in the back, goes into the wall, and I don't think there's that much damage, as you said, able to get that car straightened out and continue on. So, you know, I talked at the top of the broadcast about Jamie Lipke maybe not having the best luck in the world this season, and escapes with one tonight, though, so must be carrying that lucky rabbit's foot in that car.
Yep. And lucky enough for these two up front, Levi McCarty and Jeremy Gardner, they'd have been home free, because we're down to 6 cars that haven't taken their car down pit road yet. Everybody else would have likely had to take a wave around. Wesley Burke would have gotten the free pass if the caution had come out, as Wesley Burke is now fighting with Jeremy Gardner to get around him, catch up to Levi McCarty, and unlap himself.
Well, there's an interesting thing right there. You can see Wesley Burke out there on the fresh tires. There you see our leaders headed to pit lane. Jeremy Gardner is going to stay out. Levi McCarty on pit lane. But what I was getting ready to say there with Wesley Burke on those fresh tires, Wesley is not like super faster than these guys. Wesley's gotten that lap back, so put that car back on the lead lap. Won't have to qualify for a lucky dog if the caution was to come out. But currently only 7 cars on the lead lap now that Wesley Burke has unlapped himself. And we'll see if Gardner heads down to pit lane. See Levi McCarty getting that car serviced, yes. And Jeremy Gardner now headed in to get his service done.
And the 57 taking it down pit road, good down to the pit speed. He's going to make it down to his pit stall. Cody Anderson inheriting the lead for now. Only 4 cars yet to pit. Now Logan Threlkeld, Patrick Drabick, and Tyler Evans just behind them right now, still working to try and get their laps back, or trying to run those laps out and run it as empty as they can before pulling it down.
Yeah, all these guys are just hoping for the caution. This is what the strategy is at this moment. They're going to run it as long as they can. They're not going to be able to run it too much longer. I imagine we'll see them in the next lap or two. We got another car in pit lane. Alex Cruz, Jeremy Gardner. Cody Anderson heads to pit lane, so another one of those top cars getting that service done.
Looking at Logan Threlkeld now, having inherited the lead. 65 laps now in the books. That 30 car going to have to take it down sometime.
Yeah, it's happening right now there, Jacob. I seen a call into his crew, so headed into pit lane. So I didn't think that car was going to be able to go another lap.
Yep, Levi McCarty now going to try and get around him to get his lap back. Tyler Evans still has not come into the pits. He is going to get caught up by Logan Threlkeld here. And I think the inheritor of the lead is going to be the 04 of Wesley Burke, with Tyler Justice about 4 seconds back.
Yeah, so Wesley Burke coming in about 10 laps before everybody else or more. So, you know, he's going to need, you know, quite a bit of a lead. And you know, with Gardner and Levi McCarty waiting so long to pit, you got to wonder what that gap's going to look like and how much time they're going to have to race Wesley Burke back down.
Yep, Levi McCarty fighting his way back through the field with the fresher tires than the majority of the field. He's got 11 laps fresher tires in the car in front of him, Chance Taylor. And we're going to see that gap right now as Levi McCarty forces his way down to the inside. Chance was pushing a little bit tight on the exit there at turn 4. They're side by side through the quad oval. Jeremy Gardner now trying to catch back up to him as they make their way into turn 1. Chance still holding that top line solid.
Yeah, both those guys with solid stops out here tonight. Levi McCarty with 14.3 second stop, and then Jeremy Gardner same. So very same pit road times, maybe 0.4 of a second slower on the pit road time for Levi McCarty, but able to hang on and stay ahead of Jeremy Gardner. But now these two guys are nose to tail, going to try to work their way back up front and settle this thing at the end.
Guess who? This battle is for the 6th position. McCarty jumping to the outside as we got a slow car. That's the 60 that's Jason Taylor through the middle there. James Silver is able to settle in, catch in front of Jeremy Gardner to stop his momentum as well. We just saw Gardner and McCarty right next to each other, and that has changed dramatically in the past lap.
Yeah, I wonder what that checkup was for, because looks like he's back up to speed. So I don't know, maybe that car got loose or super tight on him, and when McCarty went around him, it might have caught him off guard and just checked up, and Gardner was a victim of that, had to back off. But he isn't that far back, just maybe 5 car lengths. He'll be able to get back to McCarty, I believe, just like at the end. But Wesley Burke now leading this thing officially. So Wesley Burke got that advantage, about 9.3 seconds over Levi McCarty. So that's the distance, and we watched Levi McCarty come up through the field from that 17th starting position, and so we know he's capable of getting back.
Checking out the lap times, we're watching Jeremy Gardner and Levi McCarty are the only cars in the top 10 that broke into the 30 mark. Gardner with a 30.6, blistering, trying to chase down that 51, and he is almost right back to the back bumper as those two split the difference around the 96 of Bobby Bender.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the battle for the race here, and depending on how long it takes up to catch Wesley Burke. But I can tell you that they've already gained over a second on Wesley Burke, so they are coming. They got Jacob Ellingson just in front of them there. Jacob Ellingson currently running in 3rd. He started in the 26th position, so Jacob Ellingson found some speed. He is one of the first drivers, I believe, on pit road. He's got quite a bit more time on those tires. He's got 21 laps on those tires, so he's finally getting past there. But Jacob Ellingson trying to get a decent finish after starting all the way in the back.
Ellingson leapfrogged a large portion of the field on that pit cycle. Same lap as Wesley Burke and Tyler Justice. And speaking of which, Tyler Justice is going to be the next car in these two sites. They're locked almost bumper to bumper. But Justice has started very slowly chipping away at Wesley Burke's lead here.
Yeah, Tyler Justice, another one of those cars earlier on pit road, I believe. And so we'll have to see how that shakes out. But definitely we've seen Tyler Justice closing his way into the leaders before the series of pit stops. And now he's doing the same thing, probably like to lead a lap and maybe try to fend off the other two that are probably closely coming as we're watching those two of Levi McCarty and Jeremy Gardner now try to run down those leaders right now. They're up again, just looking at the timing and scoring. They only gained about 0.3 of a second on the leader, so the leader might have been caught up in traffic, why they were able to make up so much time earlier, but have slowed off that pace just a little bit.
The best case scenario for Burke and Justice right now is for the exact thing that is happening on your screen to keep happening with Burke, or if Burke runs away with this, Levi McCarty and Jeremy Gardner battling with each other for this 3rd spot is going to be the reason why, because they have slowed their pace dramatically. We were seeing them catch the leaders before, but as they're running next to each other like this, they're focusing a lot more. McCarty is looking in his rearview mirror a lot more, trying to figure out where Gardner's going to go, and Gardner has his mind set on trying to get all up on that back bumper of the 51.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. I'm of the opinion that both these drivers are really smart, and I almost feel like they both know that they got to run single file or run their own race and run down Wesley Burke and Tyler Justice, because they both know if they start racing each other, it'd probably be a huge mistake, and both those guys would start racing each other really hard. Of course, they've got such a tire advantage. I'm not sure. They might be able to run side by side and run these down. But the tires have equalized a little bit, but they still are catching our leaders.
Just under 6 seconds the gap from McCarty to Burke now. Tyler Justice trying to close within that 3-second mark. Everybody has taken their pit stop. Everybody well within the pit cycle, able to make it to the end at this point. We are 3/4 of the way through this race right now.
Jeremy Gardner takes a peek on the inside, but I don't think he had any intention in passing. Like I said, just both these guys, and they're both probably saving just a little bit too, trying to save a little bit of rubber because catching Wesley Burke and Tyler Justice is one thing, but getting around him at the end of the race, those guys are going to be driving these two really hard. So got some guys up front on a little bit older tires, and so Gardner and McCarty, I would say, both know that they need to save a little bit of rubber for that battle that's going to ensue here in maybe the next 10 laps or so.
The pace has picked up significantly. McCarty only 5.5 seconds back off of our leader, and they're going to have to deal with Tyler Justice in the interim. But it looks like Justice is almost breaking that 3-second barrier to Burke as we're coming up to 20 laps to go. He's going to have to get going here and fast.
Yeah, he could probably see back there those two drivers coming, trying to figure out a way to catch Wesley Burke. We got another car on pit road there. That's Chance Taylor. I think there's something wrong. It looks like there's a lot of right side damage on the car. It doesn't look like it's tracking down pit lane very straight.
Yep. Looks like he made some heavy wall contact in order to break that right front off of it. His day is very likely done from this point. Oh yeah, you see it right there. He just loses it off the inside of James Silvers, slams the wall on exit of turn 4, makes some contact with Bobby Bender coming back down the track, and that might be all she wrote for the 14 tonight.
Oh, that was tough for Bobby Bender. We talked to him last night during the broadcast. He was hoping for an incident-free race, and somebody found him, although he was able to keep that car going. We hadn't talked about Bobby Bender all night. But back to this battle here for the third place. Levi McCarty's got it. Gardner back there in fourth. Both these guys trying to run down our two leaders of Wesley Burke and Tyler Justice. That gap really hasn't changed too much. In fact, Tyler Justice has lost a little bit over Wesley Burke. So those tires on Tyler Justice's machine might start to be given out. And you can see Levi McCarty closing into that picture, and those cars are getting bigger in Tyler Justice's mirror.
Just under 1.2 seconds back from the 33 is Levi McCarty, still fending off that 57 of Jeremy Gardner. Both of these guys running as fast as they can to try and catch that 0-4 before the end of this race, and it looks like they're going to make it here shortly.
Yeah, with 18 to go this time, and actually 19 to go, they've got plenty of time at their pace. So the question is how bad are these two drivers in front of them going to want this race, and how bad are they going to want to challenge? But I don't know. You got a 20-lap difference on tires. I don't know how well they are going to be able to fend these two guys off. And we watched Levi McCarty just shoot through the entire field tonight, so I don't think Levi's going to take any prisoners when he does catch these two drivers.
Not at all. 4 seconds now, the gap between Levi McCarty to Wesley Burke.
Yet they're almost all under a blanket right now. Probably next time by, Levi McCarty will be to the back door of Tyler Justice, will be the first victim in this lead group here. We'll see how hard Tyler Justice is going to fight to hang on to this position. You're looking at how much time is left in the race. They'll have 17 laps next time by, and you're thinking, God, 17 laps, that's really close to the end, but it's really not. And you could get carried away and start overdriving the car. You're trying to hang on. You prefer that this battle happen closer to 5 laps to go, but it's going to happen a little bit earlier than probably that either one of these drivers wanted it to happen. See Levi McCarty going now by on the outside, just whizzes by Tyler Justice. As I said, Jeremy Gardner didn't quite have it clear there. He's going to try to go around on the outside here in 3 and 4. Should be able to get this position made. He does have the advantage. At least he'll have it going into 1 here, but Tyler Justice is going to have to surrender that position. Move both Levi McCarty up and Jeremy Gardner up a position. Levi McCarty now staring at the leader of Wesley Burke.
3.3 seconds behind Wesley Burke. Same gap as we saw from Tyler Justice earlier. The lap car of Chuck Phelps just ahead of them, trying to keep himself ahead of these guys, but there's not going to be any doing in that. He moves out of the way, keeps it up top. Levi taking it to the bottom. Jeremy Gardner closing up a little bit as they get to the exit of turn 4. Might have been some contact there.
looked like maybe, I don't know, nothing serious though. Both those drivers able to get around that car, set their sights on Wesley Burke, but I'm sure Wesley Burke would have liked to seen Tyler Justice put up a little bit more of a fight. Wesley Burke super strong out there, currently leading this thing. I would say that driver has a chance. 15 to go. Jeremy Gardner and Levi McCarty are going to really have to step it up. We know Wesley Burke is fast, was fast at the start of this race, was able to race his way up to the front. Ever since Wesley Burke took the lead, pretty much hung on to it, except during the pit cycle. Back now up in the lead. The question is, I don't know, with 3 seconds, track down another couple of tenths. It's going to be a hard push, though.
Levi McCarty was almost 3/10 faster than Wesley Burke that time around. 2.7 seconds the gap from the 51 to the 04. Going to be taking 13 laps to go at the stripe this time. Burke just has to keep running his line and hope that those two don't end up catching him.
I'm really impressed with the 04 machine tonight, too, no matter how this all shakes out, because I know Wesley's a pretty aggressive driver, but I've seen more smoothness out of that 04 car than I've normally seen. Usually that driver is, slicing and dicing, but really just was really patient getting his way up to the front tonight. Currently leading this thing by 2.5 seconds, 2.4. You can see the gap still starting to shrink. Levi McCarty closing in. We're getting ready to hit 10 to go here in another couple of laps, and Levi McCarty still, you can see that gap still constantly shrinking. I think Levi is going to get there before the end of this.
Am I mistaken? Am I seeing some damage on the right front of the 04 there? It looks like it's a bit scraped away as opposed to the left front.
Yeah, I can't tell at the moment. It looks fine to me. It's hard to say. It could be just a graphic, or it looks like there might be a little bit of damage there, or it's just a graphic. Yeah, I think you're right. There is a little bit of damage there on that front bumper.
So he has been keeping this pace ahead of our front runners with a little bit of right front damage that might be just what he needs to keep it around the corners here, as we see the 51 of Levi McCarty get around the 9 of Barrett Morton. Jeremy Gardner going up top again to try and get around that lap car. 1.7 seconds, 10 laps to go here at Charlotte.
Yeah, definitely bringing the heat now. Levi McCarty able to open up a little bit on Jeremy Gardner, but Jeremy Gardner hung up on that lap car of Barrett Morton. Jeremy Gardner now back chasing down Levi McCarty. Could this be the night where Jeremy Gardner's just been winning so many races out here? I don't know if he's got it. We're about to see. Never count him out, but that gap continuing to shrink. 1.3. Definitely, Levi McCarty has got some solid pace. Definitely going to get there before the end of this thing.
At this pace, he's going to have him by 5 laps to go. Wesley Burke still holding on to the lead for now. McCarty almost within that 1 second mark, dropping off a little bit, taking that high line to gain the momentum onto the backstretch.
Yeah, and this is one of the things, prior to the pit stop, with him and Gardner staying out as long as they did, it's kind of one of those, a little bit of a risk. I'm sure he has the math figured out better than I did, and how much time he was going to give up on the track and how long it was going to take to catch back up to Wesley Burke after giving up all that time. But, that is cutting it razor thin there, as you can see, is like you said, about 5 laps to go. He'll be there, but he's also going to have to get around Wesley.
And that is going to be the challenge as McCarty takes it high into the corner once again. Exit off of 2. Blisteringly fast down the backstretch. We're almost a half a second gap. Jeremy Gardner now back by a full second on McCarty. He is chasing him down.
Yeah, Gardner is fading back a little bit. I think tires might be going away for Jeremy Gardner. This is going to come down to Levi McCarty and Wesley Burke at this point. 7 laps to go, so almost there. Levi McCarty up there on the outside, going to try to get that momentum run as he's done all night long. Up on Wesley Burke. Wesley Burke going to go down low, trying to shake some air, trying to shake that draft. But I don't know. There's too many laps left. I don't think you're going to do that with Levi McCarty now down on the inside.
04 now under fire from the 51. Levi McCarty has caught Wesley Burke. 6 to go at the stripe. Jeremy Gardner now trying to track his way back into this fight. Burke going to have to position himself perfectly to hold off McCarty on the backstretch here.
Got some lap traffic in front of him that could play into this too, so they're going to have to get through this as smoothly as possible. Burke now trying to shake that draft again. Does a dip down to the inside, going to hold it up high here, try to take that air away from Levi McCarty. Levi McCarty going to look down low. They haven't made it to the lap traffic. Timothy Williams and Timothy Stubblefield just ahead of him now. You can see the pass for the lead right now. Levi McCarty down on the inside. He does have this position just about made, but Burke's going to come back on the outside really hard.
Rolling that middle lane, almost contact between him and the 51. Burke going to have a great exit. Oh, gets loose on the exit of the turn. Stubblefield to the outside, Wills to the inside, both of them out of the way as the leaders battle side by side.
They had the two Tims on the outside there as they sent it 4 wide, battling for this lead. Burke in the wall. Just pushes that car too hard. The rear end steps out. It just snaps loose, saves it, but that car gets into the wall. Definitely had to surrender that position. Now he's going to have to look back at Jeremy Gardner now closing in that picture.
Burke might have just sold it right there. Jeremy Gardner to the back bumper of the 04 and now starting to chase down Levi McCarty. It's going to be 3 to go at the stripe. McCarty out to almost a full second lead over the 57.
Yeah, I wonder if Jeremy Gardner might have been saving tires, but I don't know. Levi McCarty's been strong all night. He started in that 17th position, is now leading this race right at the end, able to just do a solid pass there. Wesley Burke did everything he could to hold off that machine, but just a little bit older tires just couldn't quite get it done. It pays the price with the wall. Levi McCarty is staring his first victory of the season in the face.
McCarty rolling that bottom line, just taking it easy through 3 and 4, pushes up a little bit. He's going to wrap around and take the 2 to go at the stripe right now. Jeremy Gardner almost a full second behind the 51 again. He's going to have to pull a miracle out to get this one done.
Yeah, and stranger things have happened. We've watched these cars snap loose occasionally, and but I think McCarty's got a solid line there, just scrapes the wall just a little bit. He is still pushing that car. You know, you keep driving what got you there, and Levi McCarty isn't let off the accelerator pedal one bit, trying to gap Jeremy Gardner there. Jeremy Gardner closed up just a little, but Gardner almost in the wall there trying to push up. Gardner is not going to be able to run McCarty down before the end of this thing. He's going to need a miracle.
Barney's got a grip on the white flag, keeps on waving, and he can't let go. 1 to go, courtesy of Glove Station for Levi McCarty. 0.7 of a second ahead of Jeremy Gardner. Gardner with a middle run out toward the backstretch.
As they go into 3 and 4, going to be staring that checkered flag in the face. Just a half a lap to go, or quarter of a lap. Levi McCarty rounding the last corner for the last time.
It's win and you're in for Levi McCarty, taking the Premier Series win at Charlotte.
Gardner does a fine job finishing second, but congrats to Levi McCarty. That's a well-deserved win coming back from 17th. Heck of a drive there. Wesley Burke will round out your top 3. That was an impressive race. I got to hand it. Charlotte did put on a great show here tonight.
Back-to-back Premier Series races with caution free. We have stepped it up, and I am extremely proud of these drivers. We had a little bit of a rough start to the season, but this is what people want to see from the Premier Series, and Levi McCarty has shown it all season long, and he has brought home the win at Charlotte.
Well, he's going to come down here and celebrate right now. So, for like I said, a new winner. Jeremy Gardner's got 4 wins on the season. So Levi McCarty's had some close ones here. Had that win at Phoenix where him and Gardner got together. It's he feels like it was probably stolen, but now he's got some bragging rights, able to get this thing to victory lane as he celebrates there.
Levi McCarty parks it on the front stretch and starts burning it down, as is his right. Maybe. I think he's out. I think he's done. Maybe he blew the transmission in that thing. Well, regardless, when we get back, we're going to run down your unofficial results and talk to your winner and the rest of the podium when we get back on V-Speed.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
And welcome back to the Cruisin Classics Next Gen Premier Series. We had a wonderful race in Charlotte for you tonight. Levi McCarty with his first win on the season after starting 15th, winning over Jeremy Gardner, starting on the pole. Wesley Burke with a valiant drive, bringing it home third. Cody Anderson fighting up all the way to fourth. Tyler Justice holding on to that top five. Jacob Ellingson with a great run, making up 20 spots. Biggest mover in the race in sixth. James Silvers in seventh. Logan Threlkel finishing eighth. Michael Jones with another great run, finishing ninth. And Corinne Smith rounding out your finishing top 10.
Well, in P11, that'll be Jamie Lipke. Finally gets one of those races that she's been hoping to get finish at least. So almost in the top 10 for Jamie. So congrats on that. Patrick Dravick with a heck of a drive up over 10 positions here from back of the field there. Will finish P12. James Kaufman, P13. Timothy Williams, P14. Charles Phelps will finish 15th. Barrett Morton, 16th. Tyler Evans, P17. Skylar Daly, P18. Timothy Stubblefield will finish P19, and Jamie Barkus finishes 20th.
21st is going to be Chance Taylor after some late damage. Bobby Bender getting involved in that damage as well, finishing 22nd. Noah Hogard in 23rd. Jason Taylor in 24th. Alex Cruz, after some heavy contact, finishes 25th. Samuel Yosef involved in that as well. Travis Gilbert, after the start, after the issues on the start, finishes in 27th. And Charles Abert was in the race control booth. He did not take the field. So, gotta talk to this guy. I think we've missed out on a couple of great opportunities to talk to him before. Excellent results all season, but brings it home today. Levi McCarty, this is Jake Linke in the booth. You got a copy?
Happening.
Well, we had a feeling it was going to be one of these, and you showed it tonight, bringing home that win. Take us through it.
Yeah, not too bad for a guy that can't stare at the tires, huh? Yeah, just really bad qualifying effort, and I was really disappointed. When you start that far back on a high tire wear track tonight, I just was like, all right, I'm going to do it. Constant thing I always do, and really had good control of the car on the bottom of the track. Was able to save enough and pop up and start running the high side there later in the run to make some serious speed and make some really big pass. It was a ton of fun coming back.
Well, you made up 14 spots en route to this win, and just like every other time, we can't say your name without saying Jeremy Gardner, but you got the better of him tonight. You had another great battle with him. You think you're going to see a little more from that in the future?
Yeah, party's over. Like we're gonna take it to him here the rest of the season. Back, locked in. It's gonna be fun.
As is your right as a race winner. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the top step of the podium?
Yeah, just huge shout out to the league. Sad I kind of missed the race last week. Well, not sad, but happy in a way. But yeah, just appreciate Lincoln Tech, State 22, Cruisin Class, putting on the series and it's an awesome place to build. Night, the Bears, Vets, KYL Media, B-Speed. I appreciate you guys broadcasting everything Eddie does, the way you guys announcing and everything. It's awesome to go back and let the stuff.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you putting on a great show for us as well. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next week.
Well, I guess we'll talk to the runner up here tonight. Surprising, we're usually talking about Jeremy Gardner here in Victory Lane, but finishes runner up tonight. Jeremy, talk about your race tonight. We seen you have a little bit of struggles out there. You're super fast, but didn't quite have enough to get there at the end.
I'm still kind of confused. I feel like I didn't fire off that hard on the tires. I definitely wanted to get like some kind of lead because I know with the track temp being 111, air grief with these cars pulling up on somebody's rear bumper and getting them loose was going to be hell tonight. So I kind of wanted to get out to a decent lead. Everybody battled behind, so I could kind of sneak away. I don't know. I was struggling really bad coming off of four or in the middle of three and four, little bumps right there. So I was having issues with that. And then I ended up plowing the wall. Car was turning fine. And then all of a sudden it just snapped. But I don't know. I just decided to stay out and just do a tire run, I guess, because that was the only chance I had at finishing decent. Because I figured the tires would burn up with the track temp. So I figured that strategy would work to kind of save me from my little damage I got.
Well, with 4 wins on the season, you're locked into the chase. So, but I got to tell you, McCarty said the party's over for you, that he's bringing it for the rest of the season now. Next week, we're going to New Hampshire, a little bit of flat track in. How are you at New Hampshire?
I'll be the first to tell you I made the schedule this year, and that's one track I'm dreading. New Hampshire is hard to pass at. It's super, super hard to pass at. So, um, I mean, eventually, you got to learn how to get good at a track. So, I mean, I guess I'm gonna try and take everything I know and go to next week and try to finish good.
Well, I'm sure you will. But who do you have to thank for getting you out front here tonight in that second place finish?
Yeah, Pat and Jamie at GLR, Jam Printing Promotions, I got Premier Racing Setups. Of course, y'all up in the booth at V Speed. Appreciate y'all. Alexander PCs, Cruisin Classics, GTR Simulators, Cruisin Classics and Nasties. I got Prestige Performance. And that's it. We'll see y'all at all Flat Track New Hampshire next week.
All right. Well, there you have it. That was Jeremy Gardner, second place here tonight at Charlotte.
And we can't end this race without talking about our third place finisher, Wesley Burke. This is Jake Lakey in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
You had it for a majority of the back half of this race. I think you might have led the most laps tonight just at the end there as well. And on that pit cycle, we saw you starting to pull away after you got the lead. McCarty was catching you, you pulled it in, and then you held him off just until the end there. Take us through that strategy call.
Yeah, I was going to follow whatever Gardner did, and then I passed Gardner. I was like, "What?" I thought he was playing games with me for a second, but no. Uh, Passed him and started pulling away a little bit, and then Levi got around him. And when Levi started catching me, I was like, I'm just pit lap 50, halfway, and for a second I didn't think they were going to catch me. That they weren't catching a ton, and around the like 20 to go mark, I didn't think they were going to be able to catch me enough. But I did everything I could to hold off Levi. Squeezing him down as much as I could, just got on the gas too early or too hard for those old tires, and just it overcorrected into the wall. Got wheel damage, so I pretty much had to let Jeremy by.
Yeah, I was remarking that you might have had some damage on your right front, but I will say that looked to be the perfect strategy call for the scenario. You were able to hold it until that around the 10 lap mark, and when we saw them start catching you for real, but you held out for that podium, and who do you have to thank for putting you on the podium?
I'd like to thank iRacing, MK Fire Design, The Motion, Harpoon Design, Zach Graphics, Cruisin Classics, you two for great broadcast, and Eddie producing. I see you. So thank y'all.
Yes, sir, and thank you for putting on a great show for us. Thank you for your time. We'll see you in New Hampshire.
See ya.
Well, Ken, 2 for 2 on green flag runs after the break. How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good, but as Jeremy Gardner mentioned, next week we're at New Hampshire, and I actually like New Hampshire. That's one of my. I love the flat tracks and the fact that we're going out there. But if you remember earlier this week, we had an ARCA race at New Hampshire, and it was interesting to say the least. So, I don't know, can these guys do 3 in a row, and especially at New Hampshire, we'll have to wait and see. And come back next week here on V Speed, same time, same channel, and check it out. See if these guys can do 3 in a row.
Yes, sir. No man escapes the wrath of the Lobster Mile. For everybody here at V-Speed, I'm Jacob Lanke, up in the booth with Ken Huber, Eddie Smith on production, Dougie Beard on cameras, and we will see you next week.